Program. We have limited time, so let's get back to our guest. Is the great Gerald Celente. He is the publisher of the TrendsJournal. You can also read the publication at TrendsJournal.com. Let's get back to my guest, Mr. Celente. We were just talking about China, and you were talking about, and then I want to ask you about the stock market, but you were talking about the situation in China and how much of the world and how much of us that they own, that they continue to control.
It's remarkable when you look back and you see how really new this trend is. And, people forget a lot of the facts. And, of course, the first fact is the whole sending of the jobs overseas. It began under Reagan, accelerated under Bush, and went into high gear with Clinton, particularly with NAFTA. You remember we were going to get rid of all those dirty manufacturing jobs and have a wonderful service sector society. And by the way, just to fill in that gap, most of the jobs lost since the Panic of '08 hit, they were middle wage paying jobs. Most of the jobs, over 60% of the jobs that have been created since that time, are either in the so-called hospitality sector or temporary work. So they're paying very low wages, on average under $15 an hour. So now what's going on with China, and they're selling us out in selling so many ways, China is buying up the rest of the world. And it's not only the United States, they're buying up the natural resources throughout Africa. They have major claims in South America and in Australia. They're doing business all over the world as we're being sold out. And this is a remarkable takeover. And as I was saying, when you look at the politicians and see what's happened, nobody remembers what I'm going to tell you right now. Do you know when they allowed China to join the World Trade Association? 2 weeks after 9/11, when 9/11. No one was paying attention. Remember, we weren't going to let those commies come in there, with those human rights issues. No, not them. Yeah, but then when it came down to the bottom line, they slipped it right through when no one was watching. So that's what we're looking at. It's a complete takeover, and it's a takeover in more ways than one. And this isn't a conspiracy theorist talking. It's a fact. You look, when I was a young guy, they had these things, they called them stationery stores and hardware stores, before Staples, before Office Depot, before Lowe's and Home Goods. They had people, I remember when I went to college, people became pharmacists and opened up their own pharmacy in their neighborhood or community. Now they work for CVS, for Walgreens or Rite Aid. I remember before Clinton deregulated the communications industry, when there were tons of radio stations owned by local entrepreneurs. No more.
Now they're owned by 3. Nope.
Yes. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's a takeover in every way. I've come up with a new name for America. Slavelandia. Yeah,
Can
all
I give you
you
one too?
kids. Yeah, go on.
How about the Walmartization of America?
That's part of it. Because now when you get out of school, here's what you can do. You got that university degree in worthlessness, the one you got in anthropology or art history. I love the psychology. I'm a psych major. Yeah, and think of the criminality of this. A 17, 18-year-old kid going to school and parents signing off on the loans. And if the parents can't do it, the grandparents do it, and you become indentured servants for life. From a kid that doesn't know what the hell they're doing, because at that age you don't. I know your kids are amazing and special, but speaking for myself when I was a kid, and now these kids are getting out of school with $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 worth of debt. I know a young girl who has a degree in photography who's $45,000 in debt. A degree in photography? They talked you into this? And now she's a nanny. So what I'm saying is, Now you're looking at the whole decline throughout society, because now, are these kids going to buy houses? Are they going to buy cars? No, they're not. Look at the data. It's a sellout.
And this,
they had laws in place.
Scary,
they had
scary situation. You're right.
They had laws
it's
in
terrible.
place, so this would never happen. And the laws in place were the Robinson-Patman Act, the Sherman Antitrust Act, the Clayton Antitrust Act, and, of course, in the banking sector, the Glass-Steagall Act. So, for example, what happened from the 19th to 20th century, the robber barons were taking over the country, and they put these laws in place so we, the people, could be entrepreneurs. They did away with all those laws. If I wanted to open up a stationery store, I could compete with Staples because you didn't get a discount for volume. Everybody got the same price under the laws that were in place. And that's what changed the game. And now you
Gerald,
become
I see
a corporate slave.
I see it too as, put this word in your lexicon, marginalization. You mentioned the fact that the Telecommunications Act, basically now 2 or 3 companies run pretty much our radio broadcasting. That's Cumulus and Clear Channel and Entercom. We have our retail sector outside of a few specialty stores like a Macy's or a Neiman Marcus, etc. But by and large, as I mentioned, the word we've become a Walmartization of the entire retail sector in terms of retail goods. You mentioned about all the drugstores. They're pretty much all 1 or 2 major chains. We've lost that real special, that intuitiveness, that ingenuity that has defined us as, the great American dream of going to school, getting your education, coming out of college, working hard. And what you're telling me and what I feel all along is right now, unless you're some computer nerd, you get lucky and get in to meet somebody at Google or Yahoo or somebody at Facebook, we're pretty much screwed. Am I wrong?
You got it, 100%. What jobs are these kids going to get out of college? Look at the data. Again, I'm not making this up. 50% of the jobs of the kids that do get jobs are paying high school level wages that have college degrees. Listen, I got my master's degree in 1970. It wasn't worth a lot back then. I mean, now they're worth nothing. I mean, what are you kidding? An MBA? Well, yeah, what are you going to do with it? Unless you go to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, when you're in the club, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks, you're in that club. Then you got a shot at it, and that's why you go to those places, Stanford. But the regular kids, you're going to go to, some.
Yeah, Stanford. That's only $100,000.
Yeah,
that's only $100,000.
And again, it's for the elite. So that's what's happening. Again, when you look at the numbers, it's at every level. When you see, as I mentioned, we've seen, according to the Federal Reserve, only about 45% of the average inflation-adjusted household wealth that was lost since the recession has been recovered. Here, youth are particularly hard hit. The report found that from 2007 to 2010, homeowners under 40 saw a staggering 44% wealth loss in their homes, with a disproportionate impact on minority youth, including Hispanic and African Americans. The New York Federal Reserve study found that for those who had student debt, the average level of debt for youth aged 25 had risen to $25,000. Nearly 1 in 5 young people were at least 3 months delinquent on their payments. How are they going to pay this back? How are they going to pay it back?
They're not going to pay it. They're going to defer it like everybody else does, and then we're still going to be broke anyway.
No,
and
they can't
which means
defer
they're going to
it.
have lousy credit, and they're going to be screwed.
No, you have to pay it back because of
I know
the
you
laws
do.
that were. Yeah. So what I mean is that they're going to take it out of your pay.
Yeah, I know.
No matter anything that you get, you're an indentured servant.
Right. The days
This
of
is a
deferments
racket.
are gone. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I know what you're saying.
It's a racket.
Yep. That's terrible. Gerald, look, I know you got to get going. And
but to me, I just in closing, I would like to say
go ahead.
we can
got about 1 minute. Go ahead.
We can restore America.
Mm-hmm.
Put
How
back
do we do
what
that?
worked. put back what worked before. Those laws were put in place to protect we the people. And the other thing is stop these foreign entanglements. We're spending, it's going to cost between approximately $6 trillion for the Iran and Afghan war. Could you imagine if that money was spent over here? I believe in what the founding fathers said about not becoming involved in foreign entanglements. My vote is to restore America.
Sounds reasonable to me. Doing it is another thing. Gerald Celente, again, he's the publisher of the TrendsJournal. You can go to the website, TrendsJournal.com. Gerald Celente, as always, I appreciate your time. Hopefully next time we have you on, we can have a little bit more to talk to you. You are, as always, ever extraordinary and fascinating, and I do thank you for appearing on the program today. And have a hot dog on me, and I owe you a hot dog when I get back to New York.
And a soda.
And a soda, and a cream soda,
right.
And a nice H&H bagel.
Okay.
Thank you, Gerald.
All the best. Thank you.
All right.